So back to code with Gabriel section, and in this modules we are going to be talking about method in string. So in last tutorial we talked about data type, and this tutorial we are just going to be explaining more in depth about the methods that we have in strings. Let's go ahead and create a string. So we can say let's name is equal. So we can just go ahead and do Java like this, JavaScript like this. But there is another workaround way in JavaScript that allows you to actually create an object, to actually create a string object in JavaScript. So let's just go ahead and do this on a console.log name. So I'll press F12, and you can see all we have displayed on the console.log is just the JavaScript that we actually have. So it's just JavaScript here that we have. So what about we want to try to convert this to an object and see more of the other attributes or other methods that are actually an extension of the class of string. So let's just go ahead and do this. Clear this off. JavaScript has a workaround for doing this by doing name string, then in the middle we are going to just put the value of our string. Don't mind the single quotes, you can also use the double quotes, is going to work. So let's just say JavaScript. Then we are just going to console.log the name right here. So let me refresh. So when we console.log the name, you can see it is actually returning an object to us now. So if we click on the object, you see we have the value of the JavaScript that we actually embedded in between in the middle. So we have the proto, which said the proto, which is actually the prototype, which is an extension of this class of string to be string. Then if we click on the little arrow on it, you can see all these that is being displayed to us. So all these are very, very useful for any developer or programmer to know, because all these are the methods that actually belongs to the class of string that we can actually use on any string. So let's look at it one by one. We have tons of method here. We are not just going to be you actually talking about everything, but we're actually going to be touching the one that are very, very important that you need to actually know. So this is it now. We have to uppercase right here, we have to lowercase, we have stream, we have replace, we have slice, we have splits, and we have concat. So let's just go ahead and talk about some few of them that you actually need. So right here now, the first thing we are going to be doing, I'm not going to be putting these values on the console.log. I'll prefer to put it on the page. So I'm just going to do document. I'm just going to go ahead and get the element by ID of outputs, and I'll put it on inner HTML like this. So what we have here, so we are putting the value on the inner HTML. What we have here is that we have name. Then the first thing I want to show you dot to uppercase right here. So to uppercase actually is going to convert any of the small character in this into uppercase. So let's just close this up and refresh this. So you can see right here on the bottom we are having JavaScript being displayed to our web page, uppercase being uppercase now. So instead of doing the uppercase, let's just go ahead and do the second method, which is to lower case, lower. So to lowercase right here, we can just refresh. You see everything is being converted to lowercase, even though we write the J as an uppercase, here it is being converted to lowercase. So another one I wanted to show you is the index of. The index of is actually used to search for a presence of a particular character in the string. The index, the number in which the character is sitting down. So let's just search for the S now. So we'll put it in quotes, then S like that. So that's just the format. So mind me to save the screen, I can go ahead and put it on the next line. JavaScript is not going to yell at me. Still understand what I'm saying. So name.index of S. So let us see what is going to display on our page, and if I refresh this, we have the index to be 4. And that is actually because JavaScript starts counting from a 0. So let's start. J it's 0, A is 1, V is 3, and 0 1 j is 0, a is 1, v is 2, and a is 3, and s is 4. That's why we're actually having 4. If we want to verify this, we can search for j and refresh. You can see j is actually on x0. So that's how we can actually go ahead and search for index of a particular character in a string. So another one we have the last index of. So the last index of actually search for the last occurrence of a character in the string. So we have a right here. A has to occur twice. So we don't want to look for the first a, we are actually searching for the last a. That is what we are saying. So we can actually determine our value by counting together. We have the j to be 0 1 2 3. So I'm expecting the value to be 3. Let's see. Let's refresh this. Now we are having 3 being displayed right here, which works to me. Then another thing we can go ahead is the search method. So I actually want to how you can actually search for method. So we can go ahead and search for a particular value inside this name. Let's search for Java, and let's refresh this. It said Java is actually on 0, which is actually right, and that is because while we are searching for this text, all is using to compare is starting the search with the first letter j, and j is also sitting down on index 0. Let us go ahead and search for p. So let me refresh this. It said p is sitting down on index 8. So let's make this string really much more interesting. Let's just do I love Java like that. So how about we are actually searching for the love, and if we refresh this, it says yes, I can find love on index 2. So let's just see now. So we have this to be 0, the space to be 1, and the L to be 2. So we actually found it on 2. That is how the search or actually works in JavaScript. Another one that I actually want to try to introduce to you, which is very important, is the stream. Or let me just do the slice before the stream. So the slice method is actually used to slice methods based on the index. Let's say we just want to display only the JavaScript right now. We don't want to display I love. We just want to display only JavaScript. What we can do is just to search for where we are going to start. Let's go together. Is 0 1 2 3 4 5 right here. So right now we can know we are going to start from index 5. Then we need to get the last index of the occurrence of t. So this is actually where a very technical actually works around. We can do this in two ways: by going ahead to get the total length of this string by doing name dot length. Sorry, it's not an object. It's not an object. It's not a function. Name dot length. So let us go ahead and refresh this. As you can see, we are having this being displayed Java, and we are having e here, which means our counting is wrong. We need to add more additional index, which is 6. So if we add 6 and we refresh this, now we are having only JavaScript being displayed. So if we actually don't want to use name dot length right here, we can go ahead and use the last index of t. So sorry, t. So which actually t that actually end this. Then we can refresh this now. So we actually get the last index of t, which is actually cutting off t itself. We can just go ahead and do a mathematics like say +1. So that's the two-way working around and how we can actually get. Now we have the JavaScript now being displayed. So let's say we just want to display the value of love alone. So what we actually want to I love alone. So I love at the same time. So we are going to start from 0 there. We do the counting 0 1 2 3 4 5. So let's add 1 to it. So we call it 6 now. So let's refresh this now. So we have ordinary I love value on the screen. So that's how we can use the slice to slide all through. So another one, the slice actually was like the trim. So we just use the trim to do the same thing from 0 to 6. Okay, trim is actually used to trim any additional space character in it. So we're just going to go ahead. Let's do this now. So let us do something like this. and we refresh this. So instead of actually displaying the space, you just go ahead and trim it for us and make sure that there is no any additional special space on our string. So let's check for the replace now. The replace method actually takes a double argument. So the first argument is actually the string we want to replace, and the second argument is actually the new value we want to replace. So love, then let's replace the love with like. Alright, let's refresh this. So instead of I love JavaScript, now we now have I like JavaScript. So those methods are very vital important to do in JavaScript. So we need to actually go ahead and try our best to make sure that we understand. Let me show you another one which is very important, which is the split. So we can actually go ahead and split up this string based on a particular characters that occurs in between them. So let us do something and put comma right here. So let us split this variable. So we say split on a particular delimiter which is on comma. So we actually want to split it on comma. If we refresh this, you can see it's actually displaying to us that I love JavaScript. So like that. So we split it on comma, we split it with comma, or let us go ahead and put an asterisk, asterisk please in the middle. So no, it's not working. So this split is actually being used to turn a string into an array. So we actually go ahead and split it on this particular value. So that's how the splits work. Okay, I'm feeling like show you more of splits. Let's just do something. Let's array name equals to name dot split on comma. There we can just go ahead and output array name, or probably I'm thinking of dot length. Okay, let's just do it like that. Sorry, length is not a function, it's not an object. So you can see we have 3, and the reason why we actually have 3 is because we have converted this into by splitting it. Now we are able to split it into 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, and that is why we are actually able to go ahead and get the length, and is now in form of an array. So right here, let's just go ahead and access number 1, which is on index is 0. So the first one is going to be I. If we go ahead and add 1, the first one is going to be love, and if we are going to add 2, so if we refresh again, it's going to be JavaScript like that. So that is how we can go ahead and use the split method in JavaScript. So that is all concerning the string method in JavaScript. Go ahead, try your best to manipulate it, do some lot of practice on it before you actually move to the next modules. And in the next modules, we are just going to be talking about the number method, some method that we can use in number.